the sky.
Yes.
Find money in your mailbox.
Yes.
Ready to have people give you money.
Yes.
Ready to have your investments double and triple in value.
Yes.
And get up out of your seats. Do our treatment for increased income together aloud.
I certainly know that God is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. This word which I speak in faith knowing now activates universal law, and I accept the results. I bless all that I have now, and I bless the increase. I bless all the others in the increased income program of our class, and I know that we now prosper together in every way. I give thanks for this good, and so it is.
So you know the drill. Those of you who have increased income stories to share, bring your tithe check up, please. Set it in the basket, line up at the microphone, and let's hear about it.
Lottery ticket for $2. Did everybody hear me?
Lottery ticket. You're just going to take this and pass it down the line. Come stand here and pretend like you're walking in there.
I found a penny. Oh, hello. I found a penny in a friend's yard.
Saturday, I mentioned to a friend that I was going down to South Carolina to get some peaches to freeze for the winter. And he said, well, let me give you some money. He gave me $60.
So I am a practitioner, and I had a session. I had a practitioner session with a client, so I'm tithing on that. And then I had my plumber fix my faucet today and didn't charge me anything.
And during the summer, Michaela goes to camp, and we paid for her activities at the beginning of the summer session, but I got a refund of $40 because she was doing 2 camps, so she didn't get to participate in all of those activities. So $40 was the refund I got.
I hadn't been in this class at this session. I had been in previous sessions, so I knew what you guys were doing, and from our Tuesday morning sessions, I could feel the collective consciousness. So I was in an auto accident in March, and I just received a check for, in addition to my chiropractor and massage, $3,250.
My grandfather actually gave me $1.
I am sorry to say that I have run out of things to sell. However, when you exit every place and have no need for utilities, you have to get refunds. I got $9.99 back from DirecTV, and I got $46.40 from Duke Energy.
I added a new roommate, and she's a very loving person. That increases my income.
I wasn't going to share, but I'm not going to let things get me down.
Yay!
A few weeks ago, I got a really large tithe, and I'm very grateful for it. and I tithed on that last week, the week before. And the amount was $2,900 was the gift that was given to me. I have added a few zeros to that, exactly $29,000 that I received today. So I want you to know that's how it works. When you tithe, it multiplies abundantly.
Yeah.
I have something to say. This is for me and my mom, since my mom's not here. She's finishing up Tai Chi next door, but last week she was talking with the credit card companies, and there was a whole mix-up about that, and like a few hours later they got in the mail a thing for a certified letter, and so she was really, really scared to go get it because she thought it was like you had to pay like thousands of dollars to like reopen an account or something. But me and her trusted and knew, and I went with her, and we opened it up, and it was $10,000. My grandmother had, I guess, sold some land that she and my mom like owned both, so she sent like half of the money from the sale to my mom, and so yeah. And that's
How old are you?
12.
Did you see the way he paused and said, "We trusted and knew"?
Yes.
We trusted and knew. I thought it was going to be a disaster, but we trusted and knew. It turned out to be a party. I want to just share an email that we got. We get these often, more and more as time goes by. But this one was particularly touching because it talks about this class. And it says, "Hello, Reverend Barbara. I've been watching the YouTube videos from your center, the services and classes. I've been taking the Prosperity and Success class with you for this year. And I am working on the lessons, even though I'm clear across the country in Pomona, California. I just finished listening to the current class, the one where you spoke about tithing. Under my other email account, I plan to send you my tithes for your center via PayPal. I just finished with this month's tithe. Reverend Barbara, you and Reverend John have helped me so very much to come back home to the path of science of mind. I have a very dear friend who lives in Silva, North Carolina.
And there's a Science of Mind Center there.
And I've been there once to visit her. I fell in love with North Carolina, and I have made plans to hopefully soon move there. I am currently seeking to self-publish books and publish books and create a means to supplement income. I already picture myself being a part of your community." Yeah, this is someone in California who randomly came up random, like there's anything. She says, "You all feed me spiritually, so even though 3,000 miles separate us, there is no distance in spirit. Thank you for your willingness to reach out to those unable to attend your center physically. I cannot, thank you again for your lessons. They really bring much joy." Wow. Yay. That I want to take care of. One is, do you know we have a small apple orchard outside? Yes. And those are organic apples. Those were my apple trees when I first moved up here from Miami and planted them out at the farm that John and I lived, where we were staying. And then when we moved here, we needed more trees to complete our certificate of occupancy, and so we dug them up and brought them over here and planted them. And that was well over 15 years ago. So those trees out there are full of apples, and Rick's been trimming them, and Carrie was out there and picked bags and bags of apples. For that matter, there's apples on the coffee table that are the organic apples from outside. So that's a wonderful thing. And with apple orchards comes apple bot. So if you want apples, you are more than welcome to come tonight, during the week, anytime you want to, and pick apples. I even have one of those long sticks with a little hook and the cup, so you can pick them from up high, so that we don't just have apple mash out there, which is what it turns into as the summer goes on. So the apples, mi frutas es su frutas. Also, if you are not a member of this center, it is one of the coolest things in the world to be. We are having a membership class, Membership in Spiritual Community, Saturday, September 19th from 10 to 1 in the afternoon. And it is a great class on mostly how to deal with your own stuff and how to get along with other people. It's not a class on this is the way the center works. The center works great, happy to talk to you about it. But the class is on how to get along with other people. Membership in spiritual community, what do we do with each other and how are we in the world? So if you're interested in that, I just want to pass down some of these membership applications. All you need to do is fill one out and you can put it in the basket or give it to me when you come back if you want to come up during the break. And we will call you and make sure you know everything that's happening about that. And then the next day, Sunday, during the celebration, we have a wonderful ceremony where we welcome in the newest group of members. And there's something that happens. You know how when you're writing your letter to your chief spiritual officer, there's something about writing it down, and then there's something about speaking it out loud, and it like adds a level to it. Well, there's something about being a member. There's something about saying, I want to be a part of this. I don't want to just come whenever the wind blows me there, but I want to be a part of something that is really changing my life and changing the world. So something happens to you when you move into that greater level of connection. And I want to encourage you to do it. You can come to the class and then say, man, you all are crazy, I don't want to be a part of this, and that's fine, because you've had a fantastic workshop. But there is no big stick that's saying you have to do this. I really want to encourage you, if you're not a member, to think about being a member. And then this Saturday, yes, this Saturday, you have the opportunity to create in physical form. We are building a garden shed. Yay! It is something that I have wanted for years, because all of the garden tools are in my basement, and this gets them into their own perfect and right place, which is where everyone can avail themselves of them if they are, you know, involved in something. So Rick has having the drainage ditch dug out, and he's putting a big culvert so that the water doesn't flood the garden shed. And then Saturday, it's just going to be about cutting and hammering and building. It's all the fun part. It's not the digging part and the yucky part. It's all the fun part. So if you want to be a part of that, come at 9 o'clock. We're going to have lunch, and we have fun. How many people have been here for days of building? Did you have fun? Yes. Yes, you might be a little sore on Sunday, but that's okay. You'll work it out. So I want to encourage you to come on Saturday if you like to build stuff. It's just cool. I think it's very cool. And that's it. Yes, Jane.
What kind of tools can we bring?
Hammer, screwdrivers, saws, preferably. Rick, help us, Rick. Rick's in charge. Stand up.
If anybody's got an air tank, compressor, that would be most welcome. And if anybody has like a framing nailer, that would come in very handy. I've got air tools. I don't have a framing nailer. I've got finishing nails, but I don't have a tank. A tank for that.
So anyone who understood what he said, he's talking to you. We built this place. Those of you who don't know, we built this place. We put the drywall up. We hung the ceilings. We wired it. Let's not tell the city of Asheville that. We did everything. And then we built the place next door. So we're used to building. We know how to have fun while we're building. We get a nice suntan and everybody gets to make new friends. So that's your invitation. Is Deborah Belcher in the room? Well, I guess Deborah Belcher is not going to share with you the new Facebook page. How many of you have been on the Facebook page? It's called CSL Asheville Wealth Walk on Facebook, and members of this class are posting their demonstration stories. So the same way that you might come up here and tell the class, you go on Facebook and post your demonstration story and it goes out to the entire world. Just so you know who's watching you. The entire world. Okay. Is there anyone here for the first time? Here, Ann, Lee. That's what I've done for her. Are you done with all of this? To let it go? I don't want you distracted by all of the fantastic opportunities that we have here. So we had homework last week. Do you remember what your homework was last week?
Yes.
Pardon me? Is that a... Oh, yes, yes. Your opportunity last week was to experience self-love on a physical level. And the assignment was to get in front of a full-length mirror without any clothing on and watch what comes up for you. And to look at whether or not that equates to more money in your life, more happiness, better relationships, or whether it is something that is closing you down to those. So I'm very interested, although you do not have to share, but does anybody want to share?
I looked in the mirror and I was surprised how thin I looked.
You know, they say that 90-pound anorexics look in the mirror and see a fat person.
They do. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So good for you. Who else? What happened? It's good to be naked. Yes,
I'm just going to
Darcy.
say it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. I was flashing myself these really nice smiles and telling myself how much I love myself.
Yay!
I'm getting rid of the clutter in my life and the weight's dropping off.
Okay, there's a theme here. If you look at yourself naked in the mirror, you notice you've lost weight. Yay.
Well, one caveat, if you have a roommate, lock the door.
I've lived with a nudist for decades. John, we've got company coming in.
Sounds like a conversation we had last night.
Yeah. So, Darcy and Carol, did you feel more energy after that?
Yes.
Yes.
But I've also been feeling a lot more energy doing my gratitude work before I fall asleep, because I found myself, my gratitude work went to love, and I somehow went to love visioning around the world and touching everything, and I fell asleep so peacefully and woke up really refreshed the next morning.
Good for you. You planted an idea in your subconscious mind, and it just worked it all night long. Love, gratitude, transformation all around the world. And you felt great.
I did.
Good, good, good. Who else wants to share about their homework? You noticed a little bit of tension in the room? That is a race consciousness that says there's something wrong with us. There is nothing wrong with us. And so when we look at things like our physical state, and we have an opportunity to let go of some of the beliefs that we've maybe been told, don't touch it, don't look at it, that kind of thing, then we have an opportunity to release some energy, and the releasing of that energy opens you up to having more good in your life. So if you chose to ignore that homework assignment last week, I want you to reconsider it this week. And by all means, like Bruce said, lock the door if that makes you feel more comfortable. you'd probably be best staying inside. But anything that you hold on to that says you're less than perfect, whole, and complete will restrict you, and it will manifest as your physical body, in your level of health and energy. It will manifest in your finances as the money that you let in to your life, because the money is right there trying to get into your life, and we're the ones that go, no, I don't deserve it. And what we want to go is, I'm perfect, I'm great, I deserve it all. By the way, Nancy Miller is in the room, and let's congratulate her for her $10,000. That he stood up here and said, we stopped, we trusted, and we knew. Yes.
About learning to tithe, and you know, Friday I got my first paycheck for the school year. Yesterday I tithed on it. Saturday I got $10,000, and I just put $1,000 in the basket, and that trust, learning that trust that, you know, I can give this away because it's coming right back to me.
We were talking about this last week. Once you know that you're setting law in motion, then to stop that would be crazy. That's why people who are practiced tithers, they say, I tithe, and I'm not going to stop tithing. It would be crazy for me to stop tithing. Tithing is what is my insurance policy in life, that I will always have more than enough. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Darcy.
Just real quickly, I wanted to say, when I was doing the exercise with the mirror, it made me feel stronger emotionally, physically, and mentally. I found that I stood more erect or carried myself a little higher, and it just felt really good.
Good, 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 good. You know, personally, I would like to see us in a society where we let children run around naked.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, I had my son at the beach at 1.5 years naked, and it was like, oh, put some clothes on that child. It's like, well, all he has is a diaper. And that was before little swimmers, you know, and I was all natural and had him in cloth diapers. No, we were all better off with him naked. But what is it that puts in our heads? That there's something wrong with us, and every time you go to there's something wrong with you, let me put it in a language you can understand. Every time you go to that there's something wrong with you, you might as well be taking $100 bills out of your pocket and setting them on fire. Setting them on fire. Every time you think, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not happy enough, or I'm not capable, I'm not lovable enough, that there's something inherently flawed with me that I must hide from the world, then we might as well be taking money out of our bank account or pocket and just burning it up. And I like to use the visualization of fire, because you can't go to, oh, well, somebody else can use it, or, oh, it'll go, no, it burned up, it's gone. It's gone forever. Because we have within us a certain, the way I like to see it is we have within us a certain amount of space, and if we're all filled up with this fear and negativity and criticism, and anytime we're criticizing anyone on the outside, it's just because we have first criticized ourselves. If we're all filled up with that, there's no room for the good of life to come into our experience. We're all filled up. It's like the student that went to see the Zen monk and went and said, oh, let me tell you all about myself, and I'm this great writer, and I do workshops, and you know, I'm really hot stuff in California, and I've decided I'll come and maybe interview you and write an article. And the Zen master is pouring tea in the guy's cup, and he pours it and fills it up, and it overflows onto the plate and onto his lap, and the guy's going, what's the matter with you? You're burning me. You know, why didn't you stop pouring the tea? And the guy said that when you're so full, you can't hear anything else or take anything else in. And so what he was saying is that the guy was so full that he couldn't take anything else in. And if we're so full of, I don't deserve it, I shouldn't have it, it'll never happen, we can't take anything else in. And that's why people like Nancy and Lynn, when they're tithing, they're going to want to tithe right away. They don't want to have any of that static in them. Lynn gets on PayPal like 4 or 5 times a week. And it may be a little bit, it may be a lot, but she's setting that law in motion. And Nancy said right away she wrote out her tithes. Right away she brought that check in. So that we're setting the law in motion so that we're clearing that energy out. Does that make sense? Great. Are we finished with being naked?
Yeah. No, never.
Never, never, never. So last week we talked a lot about tithing, and I'm just wondering if you had any thoughts on that during the week. Kristen.
So I've been tithing for over a year now. But sometimes, like in the middle there, I got a little lax about like, oh, you know, I'll tithe in a couple of days, or like I would forget. And I've gotten really rigorous about tithing immediately. And I did not get up and share, but I have like now the old check card that I used to use, but now I have like a real bank account. There was like $250 on that, and I tithed like within 10 minutes of finding it. And then like the next day I brought in more tithe because I had money come in, and then like I've tithed like 6 times this week. And I was like, how?
And how has your life changed in the last year?
Oh, good. I have all of the work I could ever want and more, and I'm the favorite of every parent that I work with. And even today my boss called and was like, we need to find somebody to replace the other girl that works. And I was like, well, you could just replace me and have to cover a quarter of the shifts. And she said, no, her mom said that I'm not allowed to replace you. So, yeah.
So tithing has made a difference in your life?
Yes.
Yes, yes, a big difference.
Yes.
Because I watched you for a year.
Well, you watched me for 3 years.
We got serious a year ago. Darcy.
I make the entry in my checkbook as soon as I get the money, but I don't always write the check right away. Is that something I should be paying closer attention to?
It's totally your choice. I like to make sure that it's handled in a week.
Okay.
You know, I figure I've got enough on my plate that come Sunday morning, I want to make sure that all of my tithing is all organized. Like I said last week, if I get cash in, I'll put that in an envelope and write my name on it. And put cash in, and then I'll go through our checkbooks because we have a business and personal accounts and make sure that all the money that's come in equals a tithe going out. And I've got little word spreadsheets of this deposit went in this date, and that added up to this, and this was the tithe and the check number and all of that. But I want it handled in a week. I want it handled at least by Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's usually handled in a week, but I don't always write the check immediately. I just make the entry in my checkbook so that it's deducted out of
Your
there.
checkbook, your checking account notes.
Yeah. What we don't want to do, like Kristen very honestly said, is say, oh, I'll do it later, which is just an excuse to forget. To say, oh, I'm not going to do it. Oh, well, now it's just too late. You know, didn't Barbara say we always start with a clean slate? You know, you don't want to go back and tithe on old money. There's only the now. Start now, but don't use that as an excuse to say, well, I'm not going to do it for a month, and then I'll just start with a clean slate. If you want to have more money. If you don't want to have more money, that's a wonderful tool.
I have mixed feelings on this because Chris and I do the automatic check twice a month. And I miss having to unfold something, not to have it to put in on Sunday, but it certainly does help with the relax or whatever, like if we were out of town and we weren't here and, you know, yada, yada,
And that little card that says I'm an auto giver, that doesn't do it for you?
If I remember to bring it with me on Sunday.
Well, you know, and we thought about just putting some on the welcome
I would
center
love for you to do that.
that people can grab, and
Don't
if people...
send it to me in the mail, put it on the
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, don't.
Oh, no, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you. But the thought about that Grace Consciousness goes to is, Well, what if someone picks up that card and they didn't give any money? You know, and that's so shallow. That's so low level. So what we want to do is we want to take that race consciousness and bring it up. So wonderful. We're going to start putting auto giving slips on the Welcome Center, and anybody who has sent in a check, done a PayPal, or had their bank send the money in can pick one up and hold it up and says, and they're brightly colored, it's like, I am an auto giver of Center for Spiritual Living.
There you go, Mary.
Nancy will take it up with her higher self. Lynn.
I think that maybe you don't have to bring it in right away, but I think that it has to be written. The check has to be written the moment that you receive the money, or the cash has to be put in an envelope, because it's the concept of going back to God first.
Right, so, before you do anything else with it.
So we're earmarking the tithe first before we shop. Like today, I picked up my check and I deposited it. I went to the mall and then I sat outside first and did my tithe first.
Right.
Before I went in to Victoria's Secret and H&M and all that jazz. So I think waiting even a week is telling the, this is my personal opinion.
Well, I'm going to take that under account because I have watched you create money. You are a money magnet. You went in 1 week from $2,900 to $29,000 because you do it. And you'll tithe on something even if it's just a couple of dollars. Doesn't matter. You're going to tithe on it. You're going to set the law in motion. You're going to do it. So I will personally, because we are all students here, I will look at my week, got to do it by Sunday morning, and see if I'm not stifling my own flow.
Yeah, because you're telling the universe, I'm good. If you're not tithing right away, then you're telling the universe, I'm good for now, I don't need any more.
Right.
So to me, tithing it right away means I'm ready for more.
Even if you write it out and then get ready to bring it on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean,
you got it done.
As long as it's written or in an envelope or it's earmarked.
What I've noticed is that people who are on top of their money always have their checks written out before they ever come here.
Yeah.
They've got it figured out. They've got it written out. They're ready. It's not a last minute panic kind of thing. So Lynn, this is August 17th. 2015, and I'm going to start that immediately, and we will see what happens in that. And I encourage you all to start that too. You know, people who know how to create money, they've got something there, and I'm very happy to follow that. Susan.
So I usually make a list. I have a little CSL list, and what comes in I put on the list, the amount that I made, and then I have the percentage. But hearing this, I guess bring envelopes home and just fill in the amount.
You can have all the envelopes you want. Yes.
Okay.
Kristen, and then Mandy.
Sorry,
Don't be sorry.
So this is Lynn's tithe sheet, and that's made a huge difference for me. I'm really committed to doing that as well, but it's Lynn.
Lynn, will you post that on the CSL Wealth Walk Facebook page? And then
Can you post a document?
Yes.
Deborah's here. Can you post?
You know what? I don't know, but Lynn and I will work it out. I'm not sure how that works.
Kristen's gonna post. This is how it all starts to work.
Kristen knows how to get into my email,
Kristen's gonna post Lynn's tithe log on the CSL Asheville Wealth Walk Facebook page.
So Kristen, you know how to do that? Just take a picture.
Okay, great. Great, and then everybody can download it, print it out, and use it. Mandy.
I use Lynn's form, but I also have a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, where I just put in everything that I have come in, and if it has a T next to it, it means I've tithed on it, so that's how I keep track. But I don't like writing checks and having to remember to bring them and envelopes and all that crap. So I just go to my credit union account and I do an electronic check. It's like I can do it in 30 seconds and it's over. I don't have to remember to bring it. It's nice.
Great, You can do an electronic check, you can go through PayPal and do it that way. Just whatever way you want to do it, but listen to how important this is to people, to keep track of it, to set the law in motion, to be on top of their tithing, so that money comes back to them. So that money comes back to them. We're setting the law in motion. We're giving out of our gratitude and richness and fullness, but it is a spiritual law. Whatever you give out will become multiplied and come back to you. And last week we talked about resistance to tithing. That if we're resistant, we're saying, oh my God, I don't want to do it, and I'm holding back and I'm scrunching up. And that's exactly what's happening energetically instead of, I've got a log, I've got an Excel sheet, I know exactly what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and how I'm doing it, which is an open energy. And remember, it's not like you're trying to bring money into your experience. Money is knocking on your door, trying to find a crack in the armor to get through and fill you up, filled to overflowing, if we would just allow that. We don't have to go out and find our next breath of air. We just have to exhale. And it's just that easy. And once you get it and see how it works, there's no turning back. Ann-Lee.
I will add to Lynn's observation. From my own experience, right now I need to pay $142 in tithes.
I get to.
And whenever I get into this thing of being lax about it, even by a couple of weeks, I notice how money slows down coming in.
Right.
And I notice how my thoughts start becoming very fearful and distrustful, because I'm making that observation of things slowing down. So then I become even more fearful about paying that time that I need to pay.
Right, you turned it into an accounts payable.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we want to do is we want to ride the joy of having just gotten that money. Lynn.
So the fear part is, I mean, I think of it, if you're going to tithe, and then think you're going to get back or expect that you're going to get back 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times,
right, or more.
1,000 times, whatever. But if you don't, then the universe is going to get its 10% no matter what. Because law is law is law. And so if you made, whatever, $15,000 and you don't tithe on it, you end up with a $1,500 car bill, or your air conditioner broke down, or somebody hit your car in the parking lot and didn't leave you a note. So what do you want to do? Do you want the universe to take it from you, you know, kicking and screaming, or do you want to give it and have it multiply?
It's whether or not you're going to be master or victim. Yes. Good, good, good. Thank you, thank you. Yes, Deborah.
Just on the psychology of tithing. For me, when I find a dichotomy, this thing that doesn't seem to make any sense, but you know it's true, that's when I know I've got it. You know, and I'm in a place of like, okay, this is where we work from. You don't ever have it, you know, but it's just like, yeah, this is where I want to kind of orbit around this. And it's like, by giving away, we have more. And what I get for giving that 10% is a greater, it doesn't make me feel more valuable, but it makes me realize my worth, because in contributing is the only way. It's like we create our own mirror to see that we have value. Because if we keep everything with us, we can't perceive our own value. We have no mirror. But putting the tithe out is like holding the mirror up in front of us and going, yeah, look who you are. You know?
Right. And if we can't give out some money, then what are we going to do when we really have some challenges? I mean, money is easy, folks. Money is easy. It's when someone says you've got 3 months to live. Or when someone you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with says, I don't want to be with you anymore. Or when everything seems to fall apart. That's when we need to be able to have that reservoir of faith to where we know we can create our lives the way we want it. But if we cave on money, we're not going to go anywhere. If we cave on money, then that fear is simply going to bring into our experience something greater to be afraid of, multiplied abundantly, and we won't have anything to stand up to that with. So not only is tithing creating money, being in the flow, being in alignment with spiritual law. Not only is it placing value on ourselves, but it's developing absolute trust that the universe works in a very clear and methodical way. Susan.
I was going through a financial crazy year. It was a scary year for me a few years ago. And I would ground myself almost every day, 10, 20 times a day by saying how blessed I am if my problems can go away with money. Oh my God.
Right.
How fortunate I am.
Easy problems.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness, yes.
And they did, didn't they? And did you not just buy a new car?
No, the deal fell through.
Okay.
It was sort of like a bait and switch weird thing. But I handled it. I saw how I handled it, and I was so pleased. I didn't have any anger. I mean, I really had my credit card in my hand, and oh, by the way, we can't get that card. It's $1,100 more kind of thing. I was so grateful that it was happening before I gave my money, because if that's how it is before I gave my money, imagine after I gave my money, the service I would or wouldn't get.
Really.
So it was just like, okay.
But you know what that is?
Okay.
That is, and May McCarthy talks about that in the book, and she's referencing Florence Shinn in The Game of Life and How to Play It. That's when the boat is getting close to land, and you see the birds in the sky, and you see the sticks and twigs in the water, that you know that land is close by. So that car was simply a sign that your car is close by. And you have the wherewithal, and God knows we all wish we could do that in relationships. You have the wherewithal to look at that one and go, close but no deal.
And I really knew that it would be worth $1,100 for more than the price of the car, for my peace of mind to buy it at a reputable, dependable dealer. I did have some yucky little thoughts in there, wondering if there was something in me keeping it away, my fear of actually plopping down that amount of money. I don't know that I danced with it too much, but it kept coming back.
I think that as we're creating, we get close. And it's up to us to have the discernment to say, boy, I'd love to just have immediate gratification and grab that even though it's not quite right. Or I'm going to be mature and say this doesn't feel right. You're following your intuition and your guidance, and trust that there is that or something better for you. I went through the exact same thing in South Carolina a couple of weeks ago. John and I went down to buy my new car. And we got there, and there was a $2,300 discrepancy between the price they had quoted us and what it was really going to cost us.
It wasn't Greer Toyota, was it?
No, it was Scenic Chevrolet.
Okay.
I'm getting an Equinox for the balance. I was going to get an Escape, and then I thought, no, I don't want to run from anything. I want to be balanced. But we just looked at each other, and we didn't even have to speak. We knew. We folded up all the files, put the title away, and just, we don't want to be in that energy. And on the way home, we said, we would have paid the money, but not with that energy. Don't lie to me.
Exactly.
That's all. You want to be up front and say, this is what's going on, and we really wish we could have done that, but this is what's available, and it's a really good deal. They could have, we wanted it. They could have twisted our arm really easily, but as soon as there's that incongruence and we get that gut feeling, then part of the path to wealth is to trust your gut feeling, to trust your intuition. And if you're not sure, what do you ask for? Another sign. Another sign. People come up to me sometimes, not so much anymore, but they used to say, God has a message for you. Spirit has a message for you. Oh, no, no, no. Spirit talks to me direct. And Spirit better be really clear for me to hear. So what you did is you trusted your intuition, and that or something greater must show up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gave you a BMW or something.
I've been a recipient of cars in my life. 2 of them were brand new, and 2 of them were not. 4 times in my life.
You have a mental equivalent. I bring it in. Bring it, baby.
I had a history of possibility. Maybe that's what I'm waiting for.
There you go. She's open for a brand new Prius.
Leather heated.
Sylvia.
I have some confusion in my life. I have been attracting people into my life that are loving, clear, supportive. But I meanwhile have a situation that's developed that has to do with money that is like someone is creating fraudulent things, and it's going to involve a whole legal thing. And I don't know how to stay clear around this stuff. I feel like I'm going two directions at once, that this popped up in my life, and yet I'll see all these positive directions.
Well, there's nothing that says we're not going to have any bumps in the road. So when you get a bump in the road, what do?
Trust.
You trust, and what else?
Keep going.
Keep going right over the bump. What's in the book? Ask for direction, and what else?
Affirm what you want.
Turn it over, state what you want. What is the big key for bumps in the road?
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Oh, right. Forgiveness. So what you're doing is you're being grateful that this unfolds in a way that is for your best and the best of everybody involved. Now you can't be mad at them and think that. So usually to get there, you've got to do your forgiveness work. I forgive them, I bless them. There's a chant that she has. I bless them. And I release them. I love them, I bless them, I forgive them, and I release them. Why are you releasing them? Let them get out of your life and let them take their troubles with them. But when you do that, you wish them well. It was one of the biggest lessons I ever learned with my first husband, who threatened to go from Florida to Oregon and take my 3-year-old child out from his bed in the middle of the night, and I would never see him again. Yeah. So once we got divorce finalized, I spent a lot of time picturing him happy with my son in the arms of someone who loved him, in a life that really worked. Because that's what I wanted. I wanted to have my son to be in the arms of someone who loved me and to have a life that really worked. And I couldn't have that until I really wanted him to have that. And I really rejoiced in his happiness and his joy. And it was interesting because he had that life a lot sooner than I did. It took me a couple of more decades to figure that out. But it freed me from being hooked into him. Rocky Bear used to say, if they can make you afraid or angry, they own you. If they can make you afraid or angry, they own you. And if they own you, you are not prospering. Money's just flying right by, going to somebody else. So what we want to do is get our heads in such a way that we are not afraid, we are not angry, and we are truly wishing the best for everyone in our lives, especially the people that seem to be close and screwing our lives up. That's our work. It's easy to love the Dalai Lama. How easy is that? Easy to love Abraham and Esther Hicks and, Ernest Holmes and all of that, but when it's someone that's costing us money and bringing legal issues into our world, then what we do is we state our affirmation of gratitude, that I am so happy and grateful that this all worked out, and that it worked out in such a way that it really lifted my life up and it blessed everybody involved, and that person is now having a wonderful life. And when you can really go there, money will come knocking at your door. It's fascinating to me how we use our addiction to our emotions as a way to keep ourselves from having what we want. And then because we've got our emotions, then we can get angry and upset and afraid because we don't have what we want. instead of realizing that it was our anger and upset and fear that made us not have what we wanted from the beginning. And some people, they'll leave this center and say, you ask too much of me. You ask me to feel feelings that I cannot feel. It's your choice. It's your choice how you want to feel, and your feelings will dictate how much money you have.
I do have a question in regards to the forgiveness, as you said, love them, bless them, forgive them, release them. But on the treatments, you say you can't do it for other people unless they ask. So is there a conflict?
You're not changing them. You're just loving them, blessing them, forgiving them, and releasing them to go be their dumb selves with somebody else. You're not saying, I now know that you are in absolute integrity and every word that comes out of your mouth is an affirmation of truth. You're not doing that. You're letting them vibrationally go to someone else that it's a match for. You are transcending the experience. And they're still down at this level, and you're up here, so you cannot have a relationship anymore. It's the same thing that if two people in a relationship go into therapy, 9 times out of 10 they will split up because they're not at the same dysfunction anymore. I'm sorry, that's not true. If one person in a relationship goes into therapy and the other one doesn't, 9 times out of 10 they will split up because one person is healing and the other person is staying right here. So you can use that. If you're down here, don't live there. You're burning $100 bills. What you want to do is rise up in consciousness, and that person will go on and find somebody else that'll be right at their level, and you'll be up there going, I am open to receive. What is in this new level? Happiness, joy, love, excitement, all of that, because you rose up in consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I would go into quoting the textbook, but I don't want to stay there too long. Any other sharings about the whole concept of tithing? Tom?
I just want to say one thing. For this is for me, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but tithing is not about money. Tithing is about a practice that allows me to give and keep my word. And when you give and keep your word in your life, I don't care what bumps or things come up, you have an enormous power to be well and have well-being, and have things work out, maybe not always the way you want to or your fantasies, but work out in a very powerful and very good way for you. And giving and keeping your word is really about being good to yourself. And for me, that's what tithing represents. It's about a practice to give and keep your word, because there's a lot of power in that.
There is. That's kind of what Deborah was alluding to about that. The process of tithing establishes worth within yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And money is nothing compared to your self-worth experience and compared to your giving and keeping your word for everything you give and keep your word to.
Money is just a reflection of where we're at. Yes. Good stuff, Tom. Good. Who else had their hand up over here? Liz.
I have a question about timing on the tithing. One time I paid my tithing, and I knew if I paid my tithing, I wouldn't have enough money to pay my rent. But I was working, and the day
You don't want to know that.
I don't want to know that?
No, you don't want to know that if you give your tithe, you won't have enough money after that. Because that then becomes your creation.
Okay. But then my rent was due at 6 o'clock on a certain night, and I was at the office saying, you let me down. For the first time, you let me down. And somebody walked in and bought a gift certificate for $500, and that's what I needed to pay the rent. And that was like within a minute, then the owner walked in and wanted rent, and I was able to take the money from the man's hand, put it in and hand it to the owner. But it's like, why would it be like that? Why? That happened several times.
I think that's exciting. That's the stuff stories are made of. But when you say, if I give this out, I won't have enough, then you create that. But there had to be some part of you that believed it more than disbelieved it, that you believed that you would have enough, and you believed that you wouldn't have enough because it came through at the last second. So whenever you say, I'm not going to have enough, let alarm bells go off in your head. And you turn that around to say there's always more than enough. Infinite supply flows into my experience. Money comes from every direction. I've got it right now. Discipline and thought is huge. Tom was talking about discipline and action. The keeping your word, the setting the law in motion, the doing what you say you're going to do. Discipline and thought is equally important. So when you have random synaptic firings that are from your past and from old beliefs and from what you heard on TV, then you're not being vigilant. You're not being on top of your life. You're not paying attention. The first of the 5 points of power is I always pay attention. So what you want to do is pay attention to the thoughts inside of your head. Certainly pay attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth. And yes?
Oh, just finish so I can
and that's really important. Yes, Dana.
So, remember my $11,000 bonus?
Yes.
It was true. But when I was calculating it, and I calculated it again, I didn't believe it. And I'm saying to Chris on the phone as I'm telling her about the numbers, and I'm saying, I just don't know if I can do this math. I don't think I can't possibly be $11,000. And I did it again. I must have probably 4 or 5 times recalculated to make sure it wasn't really $11,000. I got the email today about the bonus. And it was $11,000. But what I didn't read in that was the fine print that said that the mid-year bonus pays out at 50%. And the balance of that will be in March of 2016. So yeah, I got $11,000 bonus, but I am grateful to receive the $5,500. But I think that all of my doubt about it,
I think so too,
had everything to do, because yes, it's $11,000, but what I'm going to receive in August is $5,500.
Right.
And it is, I mean, that's that whole power.
You are so powerful, Dee.
Exactly. Look what I did.
Yeah. And don't get on yourself.
No, I'm not. It's just bringing it. It's everything about it is true. What you think, what you say.
I have known people who have walked on fire. You guys, most of you walked on fire, and for 2 weeks picked at their feet, looking for a blister. And 2 weeks later, broke out in blisters.
There you go.
We are so powerful, and that's why it's so important for us to be mindful of what it is we're putting out there. What a wonderful lesson, worth every penny of a delayed $5,500.
Exactly. It's not. I still have it. I just don't have it today.
Good, good, good. I love you. Let's take a break. Nancy. Come on back in. Come on back. Come on back in. Come on back. Okay, we've got a couple of things to talk about before we get back into the meat of the class. Deborah Belcher.
I guess this is the posting part. So I was telling Barbara about this, and she said, please share that class, which was that I found I'm like, you know, a hyper worker, and I can really forget and celebrate in time. So I decided to create a little network. So I called 3 people that I would like to be, well, actually I called 4 people that I would like to be in touch with, who I admire. And I said, let's do this. And it was really interesting. We did that. One of them was cute, too. One of them said, you know, just today, I was thinking, gee, I don't have anybody to share this with. And then you called me. So that was pretty funny. But I noticed that even though we formed that group and I had a couple of nice conversations those days, then I forgot again. So this is showing me that, you know, celebration needs a lot more attention. So it's kind of a nice idea that, you know, we come in here and we all run around and see as many people as we can during the break. But if we create little pods within the class, you know, I think it can be a juicier experience. Thank you.
So does everyone have someone to celebrate with? For your celebrations of your demonstrations. You're walking around all day noticing the demonstrations. You're supposed to have at least one person to celebrate with. Is there anyone who doesn't have anyone? Jane, anybody else? Who wants to be a celebration partner with Jane?
Jane, I will.
Mary Love is the celebration partner. So everybody's got at least one person. What Deborah's talking about is get more than one person. Get a celebration group. Get a group, and this would be a good class to get them in tonight before you leave. Kim.
I'd invite anyone to our Tuesday morning Spiritual Living Circle to celebrate.
There you go. There you go. A new agenda item at the Spiritual Living Circle in this very room at 10:30 on Tuesday mornings to celebrate the demonstration. Come on up, Steve.
Well, hello, and as she said, I'm Steve Ward. And if you've kept up with the weekly email or the announcements, you will know that Charlie has stepped down from leading the men's group, and I'm taking that over. And though my partner Dorian and I have been coming for a couple of years, there's a whole lot of people I've really never gotten to know. But I'm putting an invitation out to all guys tomorrow night. Yeah, right. It wouldn't surprise me if I was here tomorrow night and figured out it was Tuesday, not Wednesday. But you may have come in the past, you may not have. But I'm inviting you to come out and check it out. It will certainly be a different type meeting than it was in the past. And it should be good and meaningful. So again, guys, check it out. Thank you.
What time Wednesday?
7 o'clock.
Where?
Here.
How long did you do men's work in New Jersey?
For years.
Jersey.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Thank you.
Those of you that were here on Sunday heard me do a healing treatment for Katia Krebs. And I spoke with Rick today, and he said, gee, you caught me right outside of the hospital. They're wheeling Katia out to get in the car to go home. This is what we do. We use the power of our word, and in this particular center, we use spiritual mind treatment to create reality. And Katia had all kinds of doctors telling her all these things that were wrong with her and all of this doom and gloom stuff. And she texted me a picture of herself in the hospital room at 3 o'clock in the morning this morning. And she said she has just been flooded with the love of everyone here. And she believed that that was the healing force that allowed her body to shift and her to go home today. So when we say we're creating our reality, we really are creating our reality. And if you have something that you want to shift, you can shift anything. Absolutely anything. You can change it, you can have it be the way that you want, but the way that that happens is to go to a place where that already exists, and to embrace it so fully that you know it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And so as we're creating increased income, we're also creating a bunch of other stuff, and I want to open the room now for, just from your seat, manifestations that are about something other than money. Kristen.
I have a couple. The first one is I've been trying to find like good friends that I can like go out with at night, because all of my friends here are in bed by like 11. And I went to this house party just like on a whim with some people that I met before through somebody else, but I didn't think they would care much whether I showed up. And everybody was like so excited to see me. I hadn't missed anything in a few months, and I was just really surprised. Like everybody came up to me and were like, we're so happy you're here, and all this stuff, and so that was really awesome. I was like, well, start coming more. I didn't think y'all cared. So that was the first one. And then yesterday afternoon, I went out to a waterfall out in Marion, and it was kind of secluded, and there was not many people there, and I was with a friend, and we saw this like pile of unopened Band-Aids on a rock, and I was like, haha, that's funny. And then like 20 minutes later, she slipped and cut her leg, and it was like bleeding everywhere, and I was like, wait, would you like these?
Deb.
Well, first off, Saturday started out pretty good. We had a cable guy for our next door neighbor, our tenant, and we mentioned that our cable was slow, so he came inside and he looked and he said, oh, these cords are old and corroded. He goes, I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to replace it for free. Don't report me. And I said, don't you worry. Our cable, and to make it faster, he just gave us a new cord. And then we went out to the Lester Studio art stroll, and we were just driving around. We stopped for lunch. And there was the guy that had like a yard sale stuff out. And Mary and I have been wanting to buy a bicycle for this little girl, Amelia, who's in our life. And she's like a little granddaughter to us. And so she loves purple and pink are her colors. And there sits this bicycle. It's the perfect size. It's got training wheels on it. It's purple and pink. And I looked at it. The chain's in good shape. The tires are in good shape. I said, how much do you want? He said, $20. I said, sold. So we got to give the little girl her bicycle over the weekend and watch her ride a bike for the first time. And it was just pure joy.
David and Heather?
Katie.
Katie. David.
Well, a lot of y'all know my mom's had some health challenges for a few years, and a lot of those center around trouble breathing from time to time. And we made an interesting discovery. On Monday, we went to the doctor, and my sister, who doesn't just accidentally show up, deals with an elderly patient group in hospice all the time, so she's become something of an expert with elderly people and their problems. She suggested to my mother that she may be having allergies because we live in Asheville and there's tons of pollen everywhere and all that stuff. My mom said, no, I've never had allergies. So we got the doctor to prescribe her some antihistamines, and she can breathe better than she has in 5 years.
Katie.
A pesky neighbor's moving.
That's huge.
So this morning was my first morning starting with the little meeting with the CSO, right? So I started off my day with a great amount of optimism and I'm just looking forward to seeing whatever was going to manifest. I called a friend because I needed some stuff at a hairdressing supply place, but I don't have a hairdresser's license. So my friend, she owns a store, she says, well, I haven't gone there yet. Well, why don't you try this other person who's another friend? So I called him up, and he's leaving early tomorrow morning, so he couldn't help me. But he said, you know what, why don't you call Juanita, somebody that I know, and ask her if she could help. So I called Juanita, and she just so happened to be on Tunnel Road, close by where I live, on Hog Creek. And this hairdressing supply place that I thought was over on Patton Avenue was actually over by Ridgecrest Mall, I think it's called, which is just one exit from me. And she said, well, I'm just coming from the doctor. If you want to meet me there, we can go there together. Shit, it just happened. I knew it.
Shit, it just happened.
I mean, she was just right there. It was so good. She said, I can meet you now. And I said, well, let me put some clothes on.
Yay. Yay. Michaela?
I came home to my foster mom again.
Yesterday, Deb and Mary, a whole bunch of us went over to Chris and Dee's in Lake James. And I had this bit of a fear going on for a long time. And I've never swum in a lake, ever. I grew up in the ocean. And so they're all in the water. And finally, I just said, screw it.
And I just dumped myself in the water, and it was a blast. It was great. I mean, I just got over that. And I was afraid snakes would get me, or big catfish would bite me. And then all of a sudden I feel this thing on my leg. It was Mary.
Perfect happiness.
Ted and I went on our wedding anniversary trip this weekend, and it did look like it may not happen because Friday he threw his back out. So we had called Airbnb where we were staying, and it was a strict cancellation policy, and we get our money back. And he went to chiropractor and massage, and he felt better. So we go, and I let them know that we were going. She goes, "That's great. Because of that, we're going to give you a $50 credit for your next trip," which was unexpected. And then we go to dinner on our anniversary, and we were at this really high-end restaurant, and they bring us dessert, which wasn't so good, and I said, "It's dry, we're just going to send it back, and we'll get the creme brulee." So they bring the creme brulee. It was awesome, and I thought, I wonder if they're going to charge us for both desserts. It comes in, no charge for either dessert.
Right.
Lynn and then Janine.
I don't know if everybody knows that Donna here is a naturopath and an acupuncturist. But I've had an issue going on for years. I mean years, like maybe 4 years, and she healed it in a week. Maybe it was 2 weekends ago, Kristen said that she was going to, what's it called? Skinny Dip Falls. So the whole family went to Skinny Dip Falls, and I just kind of did my own thing, and I was watching, all the young people are like jumping off rocks and doing all kinds of crazy things, and I watched Gabby, and she's climbing up a waterfall, and I'm like, yeah, right, okay. And so I'm swimming in the water, and I'm like, she can do that, I can do that. And mind you, again, ignoring all the diagnoses that they gave me when I was in that last car accident, I climbed all the way up the water fountain, got up, climbed up like, I don't know, another ledge, and then got to the point where you jump off, and I was more afraid that I was going to slip, because I had these funky shoes on, to get out to the point than I wasn't afraid to jump. I was afraid to get out to that point, but everybody was just like watching me like, it's not going to happen. But I got up there and I jumped, and everybody was like,
Well, with my new freedom, I have decided to take a trip and visit a lot of friends that I have all over the country. So I got real organized the other day, and I planned the route, and then I wrote this mass email explaining what I was doing, and I wrote to everybody, when, this is when I want to be at your house, and all 8, 9, 10 people almost immediately emailed back, said, perfect timing to come.
Steve.
About 2 months ago, Dory and I started building a house. They were digging the foundation, and though there was no rock visible on this top, they did.
Yeah.
Anyone in this community that's building, not a single person has hit rock. So they hit this thing, and they had a huge piece of equipment, and they couldn't get through it, so they rented this thing at $1,000 a day. 6
Know it
days,
well.
6 days later, the rock was out, and they could proceed. And a couple weeks later, we're regrading the driveway. We're 50 feet from that spot when they hit rock again. And he's got this big track going. He's trying this thing from every direction. You could see it was like 10 feet wide, 10 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 3 feet deep. It was just one massive piece of rock of this vein that ran down the hill. So they called to rent this piece of equipment again. We're like, crap, again. And we went home that night, and we had been in the class. We're turning it over to the CSO and the whole thing. We get there the next morning at 10 o'clock. The whole thing's gone.
The big rock is gone?
Somehow he got it with the piece of equipment he had.
Yay! That's CSO. Joseph, world famous.
So, last October, I had the illusion that my business was not really where I wanted it to be, although it's always in the right, perfect place. And I made a concerted effort to surround myself with people that support me in my business. And within probably 4 months, my cousin moved up here and opened his second restaurant on Hendersonville Road. And
What's it called?
Bean Vegan Cuisine, and it's amazing. And my business is constantly growing, and I just signed the lease for a production facility off Sweeten Creek Road near my house, near my cousin's restaurant, and so I can keep my downtown studio just for appointments and clients. And I'm feeling very prosperous.
Out of town for a couple of weeks and the lights went out in our basement and I didn't notice it till I came home late one night and the lights didn't come on and I checked the freezer to make sure it was still working and the cable made sure it was still working. And I told John, I said, I'm just going to leave it like this until you come home because you're supposed to deal with these things. And then I got in the shower Sunday morning and realized that the hot water heater had been hooked up to that electrical system. And it was about 8:30, not nearly enough time to rehook it up and light the hot water heater, so I just was really awake on Sunday. And this morning I called the electrician that we use, and he came out and he checked a plug that he had put in about 6 months ago and said it had gone bad. So he put a new plug in, pushed the little button, everything came on, and told me there was absolutely no charge, that this certainly was under warranty. Yay! So when we share these things, we give them away to everyone. And when we give them away to everyone, we clap and we get all excited. And I want us to be able to have that same energy when we are celebrating with each other. So in the book, she says that we are supposed to jump up and down and go, yay, this is fantastic. Is anybody jumping up and down? Is there anybody that doesn't have one thing to celebrate? Okay, everybody's got something. I want you to find one person. I want you to pair up, share that one thing, and I want both of you to jump up and down and yell and scream in celebration. So you may or may not down and yell and scream. Yes. You don't even have to have anything in particular to celebrate. Jump up and down and yell and scream, and what you'll find is you're setting all of this energy in motion, and the things that are created in your life have that feeling with it. A feeling of, holy cow, the 10-foot piece of granite just disappeared. That's the way your demonstrations are supposed to be. So when you get that, you yourself jump up and down, but also get somebody, get anybody, be an Ingalls and say, this fantastic thing just happened to me, jump up and down with
I was at Walmart a couple weeks ago, and I was in the express lane. Luckily, I was in a hurry. The girl in front of me apparently was so excited because she found out she was pregnant, and she didn't have anybody to tell. So she went smack to that teller, and she started telling her all about it. And she was just like, and I never thought it could happen. And the lady's like, well, how's how are things in your relationship? She said, he's gone, I don't care. But I'm going to was so excited, and I thought about that later, that it didn't just affect that young lady who found out she was pregnant, it also affected that cashier all day long. She was sharing that good news and that happy feeling, and she felt included.
So please include your neighbors. Include the people that are around you. There are no accidents, only divine appointments. They are there by right of consciousness. Jump with them.
Yeah. On Sunday at the center, Jacob had Quest there, and it was so cool to watch people's faces light up because he went around, and Quest is like a little Buddha. Everyone was holding him.
Yes.
And there were these 3 ladies that didn't smile the whole day. And then here comes Quest, and I never thought they would want to even hold him, and they grabbed him, and the 3 of them were just like giddy. And just to watch the expression of, and then I got to meet up with a gal that has been in my Sunshine Circle for 2 years, and I never got to meet her face to face. We emailed, and she came right over at the end and said, "Can I hold him just for a little bit?" And then I found out this gal that I hadn't met yet, and so it was pretty cool actually. But just to watch the way that people changed by holding him, it was beautiful.
Sure. Anything that'll change your state, anything that'll change the way you see your world, will change what you have in your world. Sandy.
And as a follow-up to what she was saying about Quest, Kristen had been holding him, and we were passing the baby. I told her she should have been listening, but anyway, we were passing the baby, and she was trying to hand him to me, and this lady that I didn't even know accepted him.
That's the one, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. You generate the experience inside, and life brings it on the outside. That's why if you want to have more friends, you've got to be friendly. You know, if you've got crabby people in your life, you're the crabby one. If you want to experience an expanded life, you've got to expand and feel that. That's what we're doing. We're learning how to experience life the way we want to live it. Most people wait until they see what they have to live, and then they choose how they're going to experience it. And most of it is a bummer. So what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to rise above, transcend, let go, embrace, set the law in motion, be happy, and I'm going to create that in my life. And that is the most powerful thing you can learn in this world. How to set it up on the inside. And sometimes you just got to grab the cashier at Walmart and jump up and down. You just have to. Other things that we're doing is we're very much being in states of gratitude. We have our gratitude letter. Those are my notes that I left home on my bed today. We got our gratitude letter that we're writing to the CSO. We're wording it in such a way that we're grateful for it already having happened. And we're living our lives in a state of gratitude. I can feel the gratitude in this building. I have meetings with my practitioners every quarter, sometimes 3 times a year, and this cycle, more than ever, they have sat in my office and poured their hearts out saying how grateful they are for this teaching and this center. How grateful they are. And you can feel it in the air. The energy here has shifted because we are all practicing gratitude. You know, Abraham talks about rampages of appreciation, and what I love about that is it doesn't matter what you're grateful for. Be grateful for anything. Be grateful for the rain, be grateful for the sun, be grateful for the cold, be grateful for the hot. Be grateful for a chocolate milkshake, one of my favorites. Be grateful for that. It doesn't matter what you're grateful for. You don't have to wait until everything's turned out the way you think it's going to be for you to be grateful for it. Just pick something. I love hydraulics. God, you're building a home, you've got heavy equipment. I must have been one of the slaves building the pyramids with a stick because I get off on hydraulics. Somebody up there, they're just going like this, and this big thing goes.
When does John get back?
What? What is what?
When does John get back?
And you're going to pick him up from the Atlanta airport on Wednesday. To town hall and present. And then come home on Thursday, and then he comes home Friday night. But whatever it is that you love, do you love paintings? Do you love music? Do you love dance? Do you love money? When I went to be with Edwene, she had 1,000 $1 bills for every small group, and we sat in a kids' swimming pool, little plastic one, and threw the money up. Everybody's around you, and they're gathering up this money, and you're sitting there just watching money pour down on you. I've also taken great pleasure in sleeping with money. This has nothing to do with John being gone. But given the choice of rose petals or money, I'll take the money. You know, what is it that makes you feel good? Do you love a good bubble bath? What do you want to walk in the woods? Whatever it is, it's so important for you to be grateful for that, to have an appreciation of that. And Abraham says, just take it on. You don't have to be walking in the woods to appreciate walking in the woods. You can be at your desk. I just do so love the morning when the fog is there and the lighting is so soft, and I love the smell of walking in the woods. It's got that earthy, mossy kind of smell, and oh, I love it when I see a hawk fly by or a yellow butterfly, and I love the way my body feels. The air is cool on my skin, and I'm walking in the woods, and I feel so grounded. Was it a bear? You establish within yourself an experience. Your subconscious mind does not know what is real and what is not real. And when you establish it inside of yourself, you have it on the outside. You can create anything that you want in your life, as is evidenced by our treatment for Katia on Sunday.
Yep.
We can create that. We can shift the molecules. We can have something happen. And the outer will reflect the inner. So you're going through your whole day, rampages of appreciation. You want to have a better relationship with someone? Start appreciating them. You want to break up with someone? Start criticizing them. There's always plenty to criticize in anybody. Find something to appreciate in them. It could just be one thing. You don't need to appreciate every last thing they do. Just pick something and then go off on it. And what you'll do is you'll create more of that and more of that and more of that. So your life by now is supposed to be one big gratitude fest. And at the end of the day, you go through your gratitudes and you say it out loud. Did you get that piece?
Yes.
Why do you say it out loud?
Make it so. Make it so.
It resounds, it makes more noise, you can hear it, it's more real when you say it out loud, when you speak your word of gratitude out loud. And then you do your forgiveness work. And we talked about forgiveness earlier, about how what we are doing is we're releasing the inner space that we have been holding to be upset with this person, and that has been keeping our good from manifesting in our lives. And I love the analogy that not forgiving someone is like drinking poison, expecting them to die. It does nothing to them to be mad at them, to blame them, to criticize them, to use them as that excuse. And it does everything to you. So when you release that, you're not being goody two-shoes. You're not saying, oh, I'm going to be all spiritual and holy now and we'll forgive them. You're not doing that. You're doing it for you. You're doing that so that you can have more happiness, more health, more joy, more money, more opportunity in your life. It is a very selfish act to forgive. Being selfish is a good thing. It's a good thing. Give it to yourself. You're not giving it to somebody else. They're not even there. It's just your idea about them that you're dealing with. Yes, Michaela?
As long as you're being selfish in the right way.
There you go. Be selfish in the right way. There is no wrong. Oh, boy. There is no wrong way. So what you're doing is you're going over your forgiveness stuff. You're saying it out loud. You can do just the quickie. I love you, I bless you, I forgive you, I release you. Or you can really have a heart-to-heart conversation with that person. One thing that you might want to look at is how you participated in whatever happened that created the opportunity for you to blame them and not forgive them. There's a guy, Colin Tipping, on the internet that has an organization called radicalforgiveness.com. They have free worksheets that you can fill out. We did that during one of our classes here. And it has, what did I do? How did I participate? How did I set this up? And what did I learn from it? What did I get from it? And am I willing to let this go so that I can move on in my life? So if you need some help with that, download 100 of those sheets and fill one out every time you think of them so that you can free yourself up to have what is rightfully yours. The universe is trying to give to you. And we're all, no, I'm too busy being mad. So if we don't want to do that, we have to stop being mad. We have to stop holding on to blame, shame, resentment, anger, all of the things that keep us locked in the past and keep us from moving into our future to have the incredible experience we are meant to have. Questions? Have you got your money ready?
Yep.
Get it out. Get it out, because I don't want you distracted. All of these things that May McCarthy has us doing, creating a CSO, writing letters, having meetings, having gratitude letters, doing forgiveness work, setting our intention, turning it all over, all of these things that she has us to doing is to allow us to get ready. So my question to you is, are you ready?
Yes!
Are you ready to let go of everybody and everything and have the life of your dreams right now?
Yes!
Are you ready to have money show up in ways that boggle your mind?
Yes!
Are you ready to have to hire people to take care of your affairs?
Yes!
Wake up each and every day to a life of joy and happiness?
Yes!
Get up out of here. You are dreaming for you. Together, aloud.
I swear to know that God is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect bless all the others in the increased income program.